What's up, everyone? Doyler here, and we are back on another one of Soul's Server 3 accounts. This time only VIP 12, I know. He apologized in advance already. To let us do some testing and show off something. So I decided, based on this cool-looking account, Quad Ada and whatnot, that I'm going to show off some Mihm Cheese PvP. A lot of people have been asking me how it works or what some good team setups are. So we'll show what Mihm Cheese looks like with 1 to 4 Mims, show it with and without Garuda, and show it with, Sleepless or Emily and Destroyer, just to give people a better idea of how the team works and where it really excels. So all 4 of our Mims are almost perfectly geared. We've got Mim 1-3 split, skill attack, cog. Second Mim, this is a different Mim, 1-3 split, skill attack, cog. Third Mim, again, this is a different Mim, 1-3 split, skill attack, and cog. And again, they're all 2-1, 3-1, 2. Shelter's a bit better on Mims because you want to keep them alive. The fourth Mim is slightly suboptimal with Holy Skill damage and Antlers Cane. Not that huge of a deviation, though. We've got Frost Eye on all of them. So this person, whose name I can't pronounce, is running Sherlock Carey, Rogan Russell. So no Garudas, but obviously a very strong meta team. So to start out, we will show... Let's go with Destroyer, Emily, and Triple Mim. Now, I know I said we would sort of cover... let's look at our pets, too. So, in theory, the optimal Mim team is going to be 3 Emily copies and 3 Mim copies. With more Mim copies, you're losing out on buffs, and your heroes aren't dying fast enough to kill them. With less Mim copies, you are losing out on actual damage. The difference between 9-star and 10-star Emily sort of varies. Technically, 10-star Emily would be better, since her active does give you 20% attack. Unfortunately, it requires her active, and with Carry still being pretty prevalent, you're generally better off running a 9-star Emily, and just letting her get her passive ticked, which gives you a... Let me check the stats on 9-star. I don't remember it offhand, to be honest. Which gives a 29% and 29% armor buff. So usually it's a little better to run the 9-star Emily instead of 10-star, at least while Carry is still so prevalent. So, Apparition is the best pet normally for Mim, because it has the highest raw attack stat and gives holy damage. Plus, this one has only 20 HP runes, which means it's going to be easier for our Emilys to get to their 50% HP mark and trigger that passive. So we will be using the Apparition for most of these demonstrations/tests. So let's try that highly meta team. We'll run 2 Destroyers. Their 6-star ability gives a 15% attack buff. We'll use the Emily. We can show off the 6-star Emily next as well. And we'll use our 3 optimal Mims with Apparition, just to show off how we do against a 345 pretty meta team. So, energy drains don't matter with this team. As you can see, once heroes start dying, we start putting out a lot of damage. Unfortunately, our Emily did not get targeted, so none of our Mims had the buff. But we've already taken out 2 carries and almost a Rogan. If we're able to take out the Rogan, we may snowball. So there goes a Sherlock, another Sherlock. All that's left is their A and B Russell. The problem is we're about to get a ton of damage from his light arrows, unfortunately. So Russ isn't necessarily a hard counter to Mim. The problem is, if Russ gets off inactive, you're going to be taking faction bonus light arrow pings. So, not the best matchup for us, but one that with enough RNG we could probably win one. We'll swap it to 2x just to show it off again. Actually, with that basic, we might be better off putting Emily in slot 1 so she triggers sooner. So she triggers for their initial passives. But yeah, so the problem is we would have to kill that Russ before he gets his active, which is going to be hard since he has some sort of upgraded A and B. So let's swap that Emily to slot 1. It may not be possible with that Russ, because we have to kill him before round 2, basically. But let's see what happens with Emily in slot 1. See if she can't take... Oh, no, it's the Rogans are hitting the lowest HP, so it doesn't matter the slot order. Yep, he's in the air. So, no luck. We'll skip a bunch. I don't think we can actually beat this team. We don't have the damage to get through A and B Russ by round 2. Let's do one more just to show the damage report, so you guys can see how much damage these Mims are doing. So there we go. 61, 34, and 10 million for the Mims. This one probably died before he can get off another round of passives. So let's try someone else. Okay, this is a great example. Double carry, Rush Sherlock, and a Garuda. So the reason a lot of people say Garuda is such a great Mim counter is because of Garuda's passive, actually. So whenever a hero on the battlefield dies, Garuda heals 30% of her max HP and gains 2 Feather Blades. Well, the way Mim's passive works is that Mim does damage whenever a hero on the battlefield dies. So heroes on the battlefield will die, Mim will do its passive, then Garuda will heal up. You may be able to kill everyone else on the entire team, but by that point Garuda will still be full hit points and will absolutely shred your Mims. With a Mim team, you really need to kill by the first few rounds because you have no more heroes dying on your side of the field, and Mim doesn't do really enough damage with its active or basic to really kill stuff. So as you can see, we got absolutely shredded. It wasn't even just because of the Garuda, honestly. We took so much damage from other stuff. So there's the MLE passive triggering. Carry took out our Destroyer, so we did do a fair bit of damage, but we have to deal with HP swaps, and the Belrain is going to start healing as well once the round 2 passive damage starts ticking out. So there is the round 2 passive. We do kill a few heroes, but as you can see, the Garuda is full health and did that to us. So that's why Garuda is such a good Mim counter. Now here's a team we might be able to beat. So Drake, Amon-Ra, Aspen, Ada. Amon-Ra can be scarier for Mim teams, but not really a counter as much as it can slow you down. Also, it's running Energy Drake and Energy Amon-Ra. Yeah. So that's what Mihm Cheese looks like when it works successfully. So we are still in round 1, and we absolutely crushed their team. So let me turn that back down to 1x speed so you can see it again. So carry hits our Mim. They do some stuff. We trigger the Emily passive. Emily dies. Destroyer dies. So that's 1 round of damage. So Mim's passive does 2 rounds of damage. But for those of you that don't understand rounds and idle heroes, it's actually very confusing because rounds mean 2 different things. This is also why pets can be confusing for people. So idle heroes, a round at the top of the screen goes from 1 through 15, then damage starts scaling up. When it comes to skills and abilities, a round is the beginning of a round or the end of the round, or when a skill is activated. So for example, Phoenix does burn for 3 rounds. That's round 1 is when Phoenix does its active, round 2 is when that round ends, and then round 3 is when the next round starts, which is why you don't get to see Phoenix active go 2, 3, and 4. It ends in round 3. Mim's passive is the same thing. It lasts for 2 rounds, so when the hero dies is round 1, when that active number round ends is round 2. So let's show up this team again one more time. So Emily did not even trigger her passive, so we're not doing as much attack as we can, but the Destroyer buffs alone were enough to shred it. So let's try and lose with a Mihm Cheese. So let's drop this, and let's try and run too many Mims, if that's at all possible. So we're going to run 4 Mims and see if we are able to sort of not have enough heroes die on our side is the goal. So we didn't proc the Emily, but we will get 4 Mims worth of damage out. Actually, we're still going to win, probably. Maybe not if this Belrain can hear. Yeah. So we did lose 2 Mims. Not really the best team to show it off on, but let's show not enough Mims. So if you run 2 or less Mims, you really need a Reser on your side to get enough deaths. So we're going to run this without Sleepless. We'll just run another Destroyer and 2 Emily. So a lot of buffing heroes, but only 1 Mim. And this will show what it looks like when only 1 Mim is on the field, despite a ton of buffs. Actually, it's going to be a bad example if this Mim dies. Alright, so we get some deaths. But as you can see, we're not quite doing that steamroll damage. So the nice thing about Mim is if a Mim passive kills an enemy, then the Mim passives fire off again. Then if that kills an enemy, again. So as you can see, with just 1 Mim, we're not able to get that roll starting because 1 Mim, the 2 rounds of damage, isn't enough to actually kill anything. So yeah, stuff is dying, but we're only doing, 40-50% of their health. So let's add a second Mim, drop this, and see if we're able to kill with that. So still running 4 buffers, but 2 Mims. And now, as you can see, we're doing a lot more steamroll damage, but it was a little closer. If they had a slightly different hero, we might not have succeeded there. So here's one with Ignis, which will heal through our damage and be another problem. But yeah, so you're going to really need at least 2 Mims. And honestly, if you run 2 Mims, you're better off running at least 1 Reser. So this one will be less close if we run this. So we'll run a Sleepless instead of the Destroyer. So now Sleepless and Michelle, if you're not familiar with these heroes, they have a passive ability that when they die, they resurrect at the next round. And both of these deaths will count towards Mim's passive damage. So if you run less than 3 Mims, you want to run someone who can resurrect themselves. So that death counted for the death passive. Back alive, that one would have counted as well. Yeah, I can check free team. So unfortunately, we did not actually get enough buffs since our Mims were dying early. But yeah, our Sleepless is too tanky. That time we absolutely smoked them. But yeah, we'll check free team arena right after this. So that death counts, the Destroyer death counts, Emily procs, and we lose. So that shows that like this was an easier team for us to beat with 3 Mims. A little hard with only 2. Actually, so this team was when we were failing it with 2 Mims. Let's show what happens when you add a Garuda to your team as well. So Garuda actually does synergize with Mim since they're both killing things and wanting to kill things. So when these Destroyers die, our Mims do damage and our Garuda is going to heal up. So especially for your IDA and Guild Wars teams, you might be better off running a Garuda instead of the 3rd Mim or a 3rd buffer. So as you can see, our Garuda keeps healing and our Mims are still doing damage. Unfortunately, still not able to beat that team 100% of the time. Yeah, so Illyria has attack steal, so for that team, your goal is to attack steal with Illyria against the Mims, replicate it with the Delaciums, and just keep doing that until they do no damage to you. So as you can see, while we didn't need Garuda's active to kill, Garuda did have full HP, so if we lost the Mims, Garuda would be able to sort of clean up. And that's sort of the thought behind running Garuda on teams like this, is that if you lose your Mims early or the Mims don't do enough damage to kill the teams, Garuda will have an active and full HP and can sort of clean up for you. Let's try it against this team. So this has a Unimax and a Garuda. So we won't be able to kill a lot with the Mims, but let's see if Garuda can clean up for us. I'm guessing not. I'm guessing we still lose. Although, yeah, so that was perfect example. We're going to run this one right back. So our Garuda's active killed their whole team almost. We're still going to lose, but it's a good example of why Garuda works with this team, even if we do lose. So, standard setup. We lose a Destroyer, we do some death damage to them. Our Emily procs, we get more attack. She dies, we do more death damage. And our Garuda is healing up from the deaths. We get a Garuda active, killing 3 or 4 of them. And then our Mims are able to sort of kill through them. But unfortunately, then their Garuda counters our damage in the end. So we're going to lose. So this is a less meta team that we are going to lose to, just due to the fact that it is running that Garuda. And we'll go back to triple Mim. Since generally in 1v1 battles, your triple Mim is going to be better than a Mim with a Garuda. But as you can see, their heroes are dying, but their Garuda is staying healed. So even if we kill these 5, we are going to get absolutely demolished. So yeah, a team running Gustin and Terra, but while it seems out of date, Mihm Cheese cannot counter it. Mihm Cheese actually works better against slightly newer meta teams, because Garuda is falling out of the meta. So this team will be a good example. I don't think we can win, but it'll be a good close-off. So Ignis is going to heal if we can't stop them, but we don't have to worry about a Garuda this time. So, yeah. This is a meta team, and I think we can beat it. Maybe Soul. So we're going to need to kill those carries, but yeah, double carry, Sherlock, Tix, Ignis, Russell. Pretty meta team. If we get the right RNG, we will be able to defeat this team. Again, because it doesn't have good counters to us. We're just going to need the right balance of RNG on where our Mim damage goes. So we'll just skip a few. I think we can get a win against this team. Obviously, it's going to beat us more often than not, but there you go. So we managed to beat a team of 345 fairly meta heroes with a Sphinx, with 3 Mims, 2 6-stars, and a 9-star. So that's going to wrap up the Mihm Cheese demonstration and sort of guide. The only thing I want to cover is artifact-wise, Cog is the best, followed by Antlers Cane, like I said. If you don't have those, really any damage artifact, especially ones that have skill damage, since skill damage increases the passive damage Mihm does with his basic, or his passive, sorry. But that's going to be it for this one. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the content. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.